Welcome to setting up your LS1000 instrument. In this guide, we'll take you through how to set up your scale, how to calibrate it, and how to get information from it. Then we'll go through the other setup steps using the computer program, along with getting and downloading information, and finally, how to make a recipe using the computer program. First, setting up the scale itself. There are many ways to set up the scale to fit what you need. You set all choices by turning the knob. The Scale Setup menu has an arrow pointing to the current choice. When you pick that choice, the green arrow will turn into a red dot and the words will change color. Now for the settings themselves. You set the date and time by day, month and year or by hour and minutes separately. Print waybill is not applicable for this application. Tolerance only has two choices, on or off. If you pick on, when you add a part, you can only keep going if the weight is within the allowed difference set in the recipe. You can set display units to kilograms, grams, pounds, or tons. If force login is turned off, the scale won't ask you to log in and the main user will be chosen. Zero tracking, also known as average mass offload on the newer models, is not in use. Leave it on off as default. Auto batch is reserved for future development. Hooter. When enabled, the alarm will notify the user when the load of the component is nearing the target. If the load exceeds the target, the alarm will sound more rapidly. There are three options under offload load. Gross, which displays the gross weight prominently at the top of the screen, main display, while the offload load weight appears below in a smaller section, second display. Up, the offload load weight is shown at the top, main display, counting upwards, with the gross weight displayed below, second display. Down, the opposite of up, it counts down while loading or offloading. When mix adjustable is enabled, this setting allows the user to change the total mass for the formula. The amount will be adjusted according to the ratio. For example, if a formula with a total of 1 ton is changed to 500 kilograms, all component amounts will be halved. Auto switch off will automatically turn off the scale after a chosen time of not being used. Scale type has 4 choices. Scale unit is the normal choice for regular use. Slave unit is reserved for future development. Polycomp D, which is used for large polycomp displays, and scale disp, which is for large displays. Batch unit is reserved for future development. Weight filter will clean up the weight readings based on the chosen option. When large display is on, the weight shown during a recipe will look bigger and be easier to see. The Wi-Fi settings are needed for the automatic download program and the LS1000D program to work correctly. Restart after saving. Wi-Fi IP address. This should be a fixed address within your network's range. Wi-Fi SSID. Type in the name of your Wi-Fi network. Type in the password for your Wi-Fi network. Set the main address for the network. Each scale can have its own number, which the software uses to tell different scales apart. Knob setup. This setting lets you choose which way the knob will turn, either clockwise or counterclockwise. When set to slow, the system will skip accidental knob movements. When set to fast, every movement will be noticed. Please note that both importing and exporting settings are reserved for future development. Offload alarm turns the alarm on or off for taking things off. Capture delay and filter value are reserved for future development. Min offload sets the smallest amount that needs to be taken off to be counted as real. Feeder type can be turned off or set to one of these choices. Tag, which needs one offload, and the offload starts at the first pen. Tag_rev, which means tag_reverse, also needs one offload, but the offload starts at the last pen. Planned needs many offloads in the recipe. When taking things off, if it's within limits and a tag is scanned, it automatically moves to the next part. The offload starts at the first pen. Planned_rev, read as planned_reverse, also needs many offloads and automatically moves to the next part when a tag is scanned and within limits, but the offload starts at the last pen. Lastly, off. When not using a tag system, this choice should be turned on. Our last settings include keypad, which turns on or off the 0 and enter buttons. Batch navigation lets you scroll through the parts. When scrolling, the parts will show up in red. Press Enter to pick the part you want. There are 2 choices, open Lets the same part be used many times. Locked. Each part can only be used once. Formula count shows how many recipes have been finished and lets you reset the counter. Remote enables or disables remote control functionality. This is not a standard feature and must be specifically requested. Keep this setting off if remote control is not in use. Batch timer, used with the batch plant system, sets the delay time 0.1 to 5.0 seconds before moving to the next component, allowing the system time to stabilize after each weighment. To set the scale parameters, a dedicated menu is allocated to scale calibration. The reset button will set everything back to how it was from the factory. Use this if you see strange or unreadable numbers. The 0 button will set the scale to 0, no matter what weight is on it. The save button will save the current numbers into the scale's memory. Set the scale's maximum weight by picking capacity and changing the number. Press enter when you're done. In CalVal, capacity and offset, there's a feature to set the number faster. By pressing the knob twice quickly, double tap, a medium or fast speed icon will show up to the left of the weight display. The number you chose will then change faster as you turn the knob. Double-click again to turn this feature off. By double-clicking when Inker is chosen, the scale will change the calibration number from positive to negative and vice versa. This is helpful when you put a weight on the scale and the number shown goes down instead of up. How to make your scale accurate? After setting the needed steps and scale's maximum weight, start by setting the scale to 0 and put a weight on each sensor one by one, checking the weight each time. The reading doesn't need to be perfect now, but it should be very close to each other and show a positive number. Now add a known weight to the scale. Pick the CalVal option and change the number up or down until the reading on the display matches the known weight. Press enter. Move to the save button and press enter again. The numbers will be saved and you can leave the accuracy setting. Turn the scale off and then back on. After logging in and seeing a 0 weight, check the scale again with the known weight. You can only get to the memory when you're not busy making a batch. The scale has internal and external memory files. This feature is only available when you're logged in as the main user. Menus for handling recipes, data, and moving data are all found under the Setup menu. Take a moment to get to know the recipe setup screen. This example already has some recipes listed, as well as an example called Group 1. For setting up a recipe, you can choose one of the menu options to edit. The screen will update with an extra row on the left, showing you which part is chosen to edit with a green arrow. This arrow will change to a red dot once you press enter to choose. By pressing enter, you're guided through all of that specific part's details, like weight, tolerance, and so on. To add or put in a part, choose the part you want to put in front and press enter, then choose the insert icon to put in a part. After that, the part's details can be changed. Use the save icon to save and leave. All the delete options have a second layer of protection by asking you if you are 100% sure. Simply choose the yes or no icon to do the delete action. The clear all files option is there to clear all files in the external memory and will not clear data in the scale's memory. To bring information from your computer to the device, do the following. Start by copying all the needed recipes from the computer program onto a USB memory stick. Put the memory stick into the scale's USB port. On the main screen, the interface activated icon will change to memory stick detected icon. Now choose the setup menu and the import function. The scale will show all the files that can be brought in. Pick one, and the scale will delete all the current recipes in its memory and fill the scale with the recipes from the file you picked. Sending data out is usually done at the end of the day when mixed data is ready. This works like the import function. The date and time will be used as the file name. Press enter and the scale will move all the mixed data onto the USB memory stick. After all data has been moved, the scale will ask if its memory should be cleared. Choose the option you want. Now to set up with the software. Open your software, log in with your details and go to the very top banner. Go to Configuration, then Setup and Device Setup. Choose Device Type 2 from the list. Type in a fixed IP address within your network's range. Type in IP port 22. Ping the IP address. If the status says timed out or host unreachable, it means it's not finding the specific scale. In other words, not connected. If the status is successful, the scale was found. Remember to save, pick the blue checkmark icon when going to the next step. Next, go to the Wi-Fi connection option. Make sure the scale is connecting before trying to send or download. If connected, you will see a green checkmark next to the device, otherwise a red X will appear showing it's not connected. Clicking Download Mix Data from Instrument when you want to download data from the scale. Clicking the Read Data button will get the data. The Store Data button will save the data within the connected database. The Delete Data button will remove the data. Choose Upload Formulas to Instrument when you want to send a recipe from the software to the scale. Make sure a recipe was added under the Single Multi-Formula Setup option. Also make sure that a desired main code was entered under Operator Setup, because after the recipe is sent, the main code will also change. Choose the recipe you want in the left column. Choose Add. And once all desired recipes are in the right column, choose Prepare and Transfer Formulas. To create a recipe on the software, click on Multi-Formula Setup. Manually type in the numbers. Here is an example of what it can look like. Remember to save and exit after creating the recipe. Use the blue plus and minus buttons to add or remove recipes. Make a folder on the USB named LMI. This is where the recipes will be saved. Choose Device Type 3 from the list. Click on Select USB to choose the USB. Choose a recipe you want from the list. Lastly, click on Write USB, which will send the recipe to the USB. Thank you for watching our guide. For more information, visit our website.